You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. At the halfway point of the week, Brian Kelly, Nick Saban, as every coach in the league does on Wednesday. They're on the SEC Coaches Teleconference. They update prep, injury report, answer questions, all that sort of stuff. Brian Kelly sort of generically saying all the things that you would expect him to say at the start of a press conference on Alabama week.
Excited about the opportunity,
Sure
but no, it's
are.
going to be a great challenge. Playing a team that offensively playing their best football, averaging over 30 points a game, and then defensively one of the best. I think it's the best defense that we've seen all year. I think it's third in the SEC. And look, they've always had great defenses under Coach Saban. And this is no difference. Turner, Boswell, Downs, special teams is outstanding. So all three phases, this will be a great challenge and one that should be an exciting football game.
That's really interesting. Is the Alabama defense better than the Florida State defense? We may find that out after Saturday. I do want to dig a little deeper here in a second. But first, Nick Saban, all the pleasantries about facing off against LSU.
You know, we're trying to get our guys to get back to technical execution. You know, sometimes when you have a bye week, you gotta get refocused, and we're obviously playing a great team. And LSU lead the country, number one team in the nation offensively. Jaden Daniels, obviously, to me, is an outstanding quarterback, really good passer, really good runner with the ball, can extend plays. They've got great receivers, aggressive on defense. You know, Harold Perkins is, really a disruptive player. And so this is going to be a great challenge for us, but something that, we embrace and kind of look forward to, playing in these kind of games.
Have you noticed that Lane Kiffin is just completely mirroring Nick Saban? Have you ever noticed it? Like, just play Nick. Just give me like 5 seconds of Nick again, real quick. Doesn't matter what it is.
We're trying to get our guys to get back to technical execution.
Okay, cool. Now, listen, I see you have a cut of Lane Kiffin. I don't care what Lane's saying, and I have not heard this cut yet, by the way. But just think about what you just heard from Nick, and now listen to Lane.
Few years back with Joe Burrow and them as far as the great receivers and really challenging defense.
I think that's all. Hey, Lane is trying to be Nick. God bless him. It's a great guy to emulate. But anyway, it's interesting to hear Brian Kelly say that Alabama is the best defense LSU will have faced all year, because when LSU lost to Florida State, I remember sitting here on that Monday after that loss saying, I think that's the best team LSU is going to face all year. And it felt like it. The combination of a veteran quarterback, those talented receivers, obviously a very good running back, a veteran offensive line, the very talented defensive front. Braden Fisk was a menace to LSU, and obviously Jared Verse is very good. As you look at it now, heading into Week 9 of the college football season, Alabama is allowing 306 yards per game. Florida State 332 per game. So they're actually pretty comparable. Florida State's allowing a little bit more than Alabama, but in scoring they're what? Alabama's allowing 16.5. Florida State's allowing 18.3. So about 2 points per game difference there. So statistically, Alabama is nosed ahead of Florida State. But what is safe to say is that this Alabama defense is the best defense LSU will have faced since Florida State. It might actually be better than Florida State. So you may look back at that Florida State game and how LSU lost, obviously the opener, 45-24. Tigers did put up 24, but if you remember, as I'm sure you all do, LSU led by 3 at half, and they had 2 possessions early where they went forward on 4th down in the red zone and came away with no points. If you're able to convert in those situations, and they didn't convert. I mean, that's the punctuation. They did not convert. Florida State got the stop. But if LSU converts there, you're possibly up 17 at half, and the entire dynamic of the game is different, which is really what I think is the key this week. We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but I really think that's the dynamic of this ball game. It's going to be LSU converting touchdowns in the red zone and getting just those couple of stops. Now, Nick Saban alluded to Harold Perkins being a really impactful player, and we've talked about that. The two fundamental differences that LSU has made defensively since those 3 horrific games back-to-back-to-back against Arkansas, Ole Miss, and then what we saw against Missouri was going to a four-man front and Harold Perkins finding himself in that nickel Sam role. So I've been asked this a lot this week, and so it was fitting that Brian Kelly was asked, is Harold Perkins going to be used to spy on Jalen Milroe? And importantly, the way it was asked is, if you do spy Milroe with Perkins, does that change your defensive structure? Listen to what Kelly said.
There are different fronts that we use, and third down obviously is where you consider using the spy. And as you know, he's been part of our pass rush. And, there are obviously opportunities to do some things with him that allow him, to rush or drop depending on, what the particular calls are. So, no, we wouldn't have to do anything to change the structure of the defense to include him into different segments of a defense that could include dropping, blitzing, spying, and still have it be part of our new structure.
One of the great detriments of this LSU defense right now is third down defense. LSU's third down defense is, and has been, as we all know, among the worst in the country. LSU is 106th in the country out of 133 schools. They're 106 out of 133 in opponents' third down conversion. So third down defense. LSU is allowing opponents to convert 44% on third down. I do not have that broken down into SEC-only numbers, but I would venture a guess that the number is much worse against conference opponents because you would eliminate the Army and Grambling games. So, yeah, man, I hear what Brian Kelly is saying there. If you wanted to spy Harold Perkins, use Perkins as a spy on Milroe, you'd be doing it on third down because you wouldn't want to be playing coverage, have Milroe tuck and run to convert a first down, which is where, quite honestly, Milroe is dangerous because they're not using him as a designed runner in this offense anymore. We've talked about that already this week. Milroe's rushing statistics have plummeted over the last month as Tommy Rees has sort of refangled and refunctioned that offense around a traditional running game with McClellan and Williams, and Milroe throwing out of the pocket off of play action, taking the deep shots. He ain't taking 35 shots a game. He's taking 20, but he's looking for 10 of 20 for 250 when he's hitting the 40 and 50-yard passes a couple of times a game. That's what he's looking for. When Milroe runs, it's those options. It's 3rd and 6, you're playing coverage, and Milroe scrambles and gets the first down. That's where LSU's been susceptible all year. That's what you have to prevent against. Well, if you use Perkins to spy on Milroe in those situations, you're not using him to rush the passer. And then does he get caught up in the wash like he did against Florida State? That's kind of the cat and mouse game that we're going to see. And it'll be interesting to see what LSU elects to do because you just can't let... I don't think that LSU is at risk. Milroe's a great runner. I think we all know he's a phenomenal athlete. He's like a track guy running. But, and yes, he's capable of busting a 70-yarder if you're not disciplined. That's possible. Of course it is. But that's not my great concern with Milroe on Saturday. My great concern is if you're playing coverage and Milroe does what Jordan Travis did a year ago. Every third down opportunity, he's running and he's converting and continuing drives and moving the sticks and playing ball control and keeping away from the LSU offense. So, yes, how they use Harold Perkins on Saturday, I think is going to be one of the really fascinating things early, and I do think that that's going to evolve as the game goes along. Matt House was brilliant last year at halftime adjustments. He was brilliant at halftime adjustments. You're probably going to need to see that again this year. In particular, I'll remind you, Alabama has trailed 3 times in conference play at half. They trailed against Ole Miss, they trailed against Texas A&M, and they were down 13 at home against Tennessee at half. All 3 games, Bama made the adjustments, clamped down on defense, and their offense got rolling. I think LSU, just looking at that trend, LSU likely is going to be leading this game at halftime. I believe that. I think they will. Who's going to be more equipped to making those halftime adjustments, and certainly how LSU uses Harold Perkins on Saturday as sort of a wild card, the queen piece on the chessboard. I think it'll be fascinating on that side of the ball. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.